my computer.
Really brought the word down.
And I did. I also got rid of some stuff on there, and it magically just decided to. I think it was decided to work, and we're rolling. So it's all good. It's all good. And so the next time it decides to quit. So I'm on page 30. The main idea is the teleological argument is one of the strongest arguments that prove the universe had an intelligent designer who created it from the beginning. Teleological argument is one of the things you need to know, the anthropic principle and the anthropic constants. So we're on point 3 of our logical argument, that is this book. And we've already talked about it is true that the theistic God exists. This is evidenced by the beginning of the universe. That was chapter 3. And we have chapter 4, the design of the universe. We'll talk about the design of life, and that is the design of life on Earth. So, and the human body and things like that. And then the moral law. So we have 2 more sort of legs to this stool of, I don't know what better thing to call it, but of the truth that not only the universe had a beginning, but it had a cause. And what does that cause look like is where we're headed. So we're going to see that in the design of life, and we're going to see it in the moral law as well in the next couple of chapters. So let's talk about these emboldened questions. When you look at God's creation, what comes to mind? The vastness of the universe. Yeah. What else? Yes. How complex it is. We have one detail-oriented God. It's very detailed. What else? I can tell you from my time in Switzerland. And by the way, I've started the process of getting pictures ready to go, and we'll do that next week. I think next week for you. I don't know. We've got to get through this chapter. And you'll see pictures of beauty that was just almost astounding. I looked back at some of the pictures, most of which I took, and I am a notoriously bad. Like one of the pictures I took was a complete picture of it's just this pink, reddish. But my most of them were taken by me. My youngest sister is quite a good photographer, and some of them, most of them are for me, and I can't even believe how beautiful Switzerland is. The beauty of it, the immensity of it, as we already mentioned, and the precision of the universe is just mind-boggling. We're going to skip number 2. So what proofs can you offer to support the divine design of the universe? What proof does this chapter give? Yes?
Perfect little details of something intelligent. Design is described as intelligent. It is intelligent, that it must have design.
Right. Everything that has a design has a design. Right? That is the teleological argument. And so the teleological argument stands as proof because no one can question the complexity of the universe, right? And the design of the universe. Even, and I've told you this already, but Richard Dawkins said that the belief in evolution is the belief that something that appears to have been designed actually came about by random chance. Even someone like Richard Dawkins, who's foremost atheist right now in the world, admits that it all looks to be designed, but it can't be, because there can't be a designer. It's kind of backwards thinking, isn't it? That's kind of not very logical thinking for a guy who's a scientist of sorts. So let's look at these equipped questions. What does the teleological argument mean, and why is it important to know? So what are the 3 points of the teleological argument? Yes, Riley.
Every design had a designer. The universe has a highly complex design, therefore the universe has a designer.
So that's the logical argument. And if 1 is true, that every design had a designer, and if 2 is true, the universe has a complex, highly complex design, then number 3 must be true, right? Therefore, the universe had a designer. So because the universe has a highly complex design, it must have a designer. Do we see anything else that's highly complex that doesn't have a designer? Anything that's on Earth, like that is man-made? No. So why would we say, well, this one doesn't? The universe doesn't. The solar system doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. So why is it important? Why is it important to know?
What helps us connect like the wonder and the creator and cause, and helps us.
Yeah, and draws us toward that, right? What else? We're going to talk about this more in the next chapter, but we are also highly complex. All of life. And you're going to see how complex just a single cell amoeba is. And if there is a designer who designed the universe and everything in it, including us, are we not beholden to him? Do we not think that we have a creator? Do we not have a responsibility? Back to that. But then it's also important, and I think maybe this is the most important thing, is that the assumed belief is that the universe is an accident. The scientifically, unless it's a Christian scientist, the assumed belief is that it's all a big accident, and that just appears. And because that is the default position of most of science, that makes us knowing and trumpeting this truth of the teleological argument even more. When Katie was 16, by the way, I read this a statistic once. I believe it was 50% of new drivers have an accident within the first year of driving. For my children, that would be 66.6%, because 2 of the 3 did. In Katie's case, she was driving our brand new, and the first time in my life that I had the brand new off the lot. Actually, it was special order. And she was driving up Lincoln Road, just going up that hill, you know where Wake Robin is? Anybody know where we are? Okay. And at that time, there was no curb on part of that road, which is a good thing. There's a curb now. And as she had her friend with her, and as they went up the hill, a truck crested the hill coming the other way, and it kept veering toward Katie. And so Katie started going off, and by the time the truck hit her head on, she was off the road, and they could not see anybody in the truck. And the girl confessed to this girl and her boyfriend. The girl confessed that she had fallen asleep, as had her boyfriend. Hit her straight on, front and head on, at full speed. and Katie was stuck. And I got a call from Katie's friend's father. No, I got a call from Katie. And when Katie is upset, you really can't understand a word she says. It sounded something like, something like that. And I only kind of got that I needed to come get her. And so I got that her friend Alex's father was coming to pick me up. And it was just like very close to where we were. And so the first thing he tells me is the girls were fine, which is all I needed to hear. But then he said, the car is a mess. And I have pictures. I won't show them to you now. But it took out the entire front end of my car, and of course the airbags deployed. And the cop said to me, had the girls not been wearing their seatbelts, this would have been and here's the thing. Accidents don't do things decently. My car was all over the road. The front end of my car was everywhere. And it was it was completely destroyed. The front end was completely destroyed. That's what accidents do. Accidents disorder. Only intelligence can order. And yet we're told that it's all just a big accident. But I've never seen an accident bring things together. Right? And so because the default position is that it's all a big accident, it is even more important that we understand and we believe the truth that God created the universe. Number 2. Who were the 2 famous scientists who confirmed the validity of the teleological argument? Yes. Yes, so Isaac Newton and William Paley. Isaac Newton and William Paley. William Paley, in particular, this is question 3, had this sort of common sense analogy of the teleological argument. What was it? Yes.
If you find a diamond-studded Rolex on the ground in the middle of the forest, you don't look at it and say, that was made by wind and the rain over many thousands of years.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
What do you assume?
That a watchmaker made it and that someone else bought it from that watchmaker, dropped it, and is now sad.
Yeah, it's now very sad. Yeah, it has a complex design, that watch, right? That diamond-studded Rolex or whatever it is. And we don't expect natural forces to put that together. We expect an intelligent being to do that.
I was just gonna add on, every watch requires a watch.
Right.
You don't get anything in it without having.
Right. So even like the one that I buy, every year I buy a watch for camp. Every year, the next year, it's dead, and I'm not going to pay to put a new battery into a watch that cost me $4.99. But even that cheapo little Pokemon watch that I bought last year,
Well, that's illegal.
I gave it away to a camper at the end. But required intelligence to be made. Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, I think chemistry is like, even in chemistry, that like some certain elements don't even naturally occur. Like pure elements occur in nature. Like they only exist in compounds. So like even things in nature, they don't. It kind of reminds me of the Rolex symbol. We couldn't see those elements in pure forms until we actually separated them from the compounds. So even in nature, everything is like designed that way.
Absolutely.
Even though it's got like building blocks. It's already built.
Yep.
John.
So what is the anthropic principle and why is it important? So first of all, what does anthropic mean? Yeah.
Like, giving human attributes, I guess.
Yeah, human or
Yeah.
mankind or something like that. Yeah. And what is the anthropic principle? Yeah.
So fancy name for all of the evidence of the extremely fine-tuned for human life.
Yes. So it's these clues and these this evidence that the universe is extremely fine-tuned, and the universe appears to have been designed so as to allow life, and particularly human life, on Earth. Like everything is orchestrated around that. And even an atheistic scientist will tell you that. It sure looks like that. He'll say it can't be because there is no God, but it sure looks like the entire universe was created so that on time to write stuff down. Okay, you're supposed to. Subject, okay. Well, good job. So number 5, list the five anthropic constants detailed in the book and explain how each constant supports life on Earth. So number 1 is what's the number 1 anthropic constant? Yes. The oxygen level, which is somewhere around 21, I think it's 21.4, is it? So right around 21%. So what would happen if that changed, one way or the other? Yeah, we would all die, right? We would if it was 25%, there would be mass fires. If it was 15%, we would all suffocate. We wouldn't be able to live. So the oxygen level at 21%. What's the second anthropic constant? Yes.
Atmospheric transparency.
Okay, what is that?
Lets through just enough radiation from the sun to allow life, but not to burn us all to radiation.
Yeah, and so remember in the Apollo 11 that if they came in too shallow, they'd skip off. If they came in too steep, they'd burn up. That has to do with the atmospheric transparency, and for lack of a better word, it's the thickness of our atmosphere, of the lid on our atmosphere. That is not scientific at all. Hopefully, it's a word picture that is helpful. And so if one way there'd be too much solar radiation and we'd burn up, the other way there wouldn't be enough and we'd die because it wouldn't be warm enough. What is the third anthropic constant that was listed? Yes.
Moon, Earth, gravitational
interaction between the gravitational interaction between the moon and the Earth. What happens if it was much greater? Yes.
It'd throw all of the different weathers, tides, earthquakes. It's all very bad for us. We all die. Oh, wait,
yeah, I mean, either way, you've got climatic instability, right?
Yeah.
If it's greater, we've got these tidal waves, we've got severe rotation. I guess we'd all be dizzy. I don't know, but it would change the atmosphere severely. If it were any less, we'd have climatic instability even more than we have now. Either way, the Earth wouldn't support life. Either way, guys, I want you not talking. Okay, this is important. Have a write about this, right? So you need to know it. Did you hear what I just said?
She just said something.
What?
They were still talking.
It's 21%. At 21, it might be 21 points.
Yeah, I was saying
4 in my head, but it could be wrong. Yes.
And what was the level?
I think it's 25%. It's 25%. There'd be rampant
Red
fires.
flag warning.
Oh, yeah.
What is the fourth? Wait, did we do the third one? Yeah, we did. What was the fourth anthropic constant? Yes, James.
The CO2 level traps the perfect amount of heat in the atmosphere.
Yep, and what happens if it's higher?
If it's higher, it traps too much, and we have a red flag warning every day.
Yep, runaway greenhouse effect. We may get there on our own, but we'd already be there. And what if it was less?
If it was too low, then trees and plants, they wouldn't be able to survive, so they wouldn't make oxygen, so we would suffocate ourselves.
Also, no life. Yeah, we don't. Wouldn't have photosynthesis. What's the fifth one? Yes.
Gravity.
Gravity. And what would happen even if there was a little tiny change in that? Yeah.
If it were too low, there wouldn't be enough gravity to pull stars together, right? And if it were too high, there would be too much, and it wouldn't have the perfect amount to pull together, but then also combust and be able to stand if there's too much. It would go.
So with just a small difference in our gravity, there'd be no sun, there'd be no solar system, and perhaps not even a universe. So it wouldn't exist. Now that's just a few of them. Obviously there are more. So we're going to fill in these blanks, and this is just quoting from the book. Quoting from the book. So you can read along on page 105, 106. I will read it, and you will write it down as you can answer it. So if you can all answer it. It's in your book, in your big book, page 105. If the centrifugal force, now centrifugal force is something that keeps something in place as it spins around. I don't know if you've ever been in that contraption of doom where at a park where it spins around and around and around and around and the floor drops and you stay stuck to the side. Yeah, if you ever do go on that ride, my suggestion to you is that you not eat before you do that, because that will also, whatever comes up will also be pinned to you as well. Don't ask me how, I know. So that's centrifugal force. So if the centrifugal force of the planetary movement did not precisely balance the gravitational forces, nothing could be held in orbit around the sun. If the centrifugal force of the planetary movement did not precisely balance the gravitational forces, nothing could be held in orbit around the sun. Everybody got that? That is exactly right, because last time I checked, we are still in orbit around the sun. Number 2, are you ready? If the
Universe.
had expanded at a rate
1 million.
more slowly than it did, expansion would have stopped. So if the sun, if the universe had expanded at a rate 1/1,000,000th more slowly than it did, expansion would have stopped. And the universe would have collapsed on itself before any stars had formed. If it had
Expanded faster.
then no
Galaxies.
would have formed. Just a little minute difference. So see what we're talking about, it's finely tuned. The word picture I like to give, I don't know if you've ever been to I'm sure you've been to a concert, and you've ever seen the soundboard, the massive soundboard with like the thousands of little dials, and each one of them has to be finely tuned to where it needs to be so you don't get that sound of feedback that makes you want to, tear your eyes out. But so everybody can hear, and it's not, well, it's probably going to be too loud. But anyway, that's kind of what the universe, take that and multiply it by a lot, the fine tuning of the universe. Number 3, Any of the
Laws of physics,
can be described as a function of the,
velocity of light.
okay, so any of the laws of physics can be described as a function of the velocity or the speed of light, defined to be 299,458 meters per second. Even a slight variation in the speed of the light would alter the other constants and preclude the possibility of life. So even that velocity of light, even the speed of light has an impact. If water vapor levels in the in the atmosphere were greater than they are now, a runaway greenhouse effect would cause temperatures to rise too high for
Human life.
If they were less, an insufficient greenhouse effect, thank you, Sarah, would make the earth too cold to support human life. I think Sarah's getting tired. Maybe we can have some other people jump in. If
Jupiter.
thank you were not in its current
Orbit.
the earth would be bombarded with
Space material.
Jupiter's
Gravitation.
gravitational field acts as a
Honestly, come back to
giant vacuum cleaner, attracting asteroids and comets that might otherwise strike the Earth. So even the placement of Jupiter precisely allows us to exist. And then number 6, if the thickness of the Earth were greater, too much oxygen would be transferred to the
crust.
to support life. If it were thinner
Volcanic.
and tectonic activity would make life impossible. You know what volcanic is. What is tectonic? Earthquakes. That's referred to. Number 7. If the rotation of the Earth took longer than 24 hours, temperature differences would be too great between night and day. If the rotation period were shorter, atmospheric wind velocities would be too great. The 23 degree tilt of the Earth is just right. If the tilt were altered slightly, surface temperatures would be too extreme on Earth. If the atmospheric discharge, meaning lightning rate, were greater, there would be too much fire destruction. If it were less, there would be too little nitrogen fixing in the soil. And I assume that has something to do with growing things. 10, if there were more, so earthquakes, much more life would be lost. If there was, I think it's fewer, but whatever. Nutrients on the ocean floor and in the river runoff would not be cycled back to the continents through tectonic uplift. Yes, even earthquakes are necessary to sustain life as we. How many narrowly defined constants does Dr. Hugh Ross calculate? What is the probability of these constants existing on other planets in the universe? So how many constants has he found? 122 constants. What is the chance of those constants existing on another planet?
1 in 10 to the 130.
Yeah, 1 in 10 to the 138. So one chance in 1 with 138 zeros after it. Those are not good odds. If those are the odds for your horse in the horse race, do not place money on that.
That's worse.
What did Arno Penzias and Ed Harrison both have to say about the anthropic principle? What?
I would own the universe if I won that.
Oh, you would.
I bet there is one planet like Earth in the universe. Right here. Did I win?
No
Did I win,
way.
guys?
Nice.
No.
So next question, what did Arno Penzias and Ed Harrison both have to say about the anthropic principle?
The universe was created out of nothing and delicately balanced by that right one life and yet absolutely improbable accident calculations of modern science seem to suggest an underlying, one might say, supernatural plan.
Something supernatural,
I
is
didn't
it
understand
right?
any of that.
Essentially, it's proof of God, is what he's saying. There's proof of something beyond the natural. And at one point they say prima facie evidence, and prima facie as evidence is something that can't be denied. That is the first. That's my side. She had a whole.
You should get a doorbell to the certain way.
I had a call. How do atheists respond to the anthropic principle as a proof for God? Yeah.
A lot of them kind of say like, oh, well, the only reason they or they'll like make up. Well, we just haven't been.
Yeah, they usually come up with some of the theories that don't require God, like multiverse, like cosmic rebound theory, or something like that. And they speculate, which is weird for scientists, right? Scientists aren't supposed to speculate, but that's what they're doing. And then the next one, you can, I'll just give you a minute or two to answer. How do the heavens speak to us of a creator? I wrote, in its awesomeness and unimaginable greatness, it points to an unimaginably powerful and personal. And then number 11, what do atheists accuse religious people of doing that they do themselves? Yes. Speculation.
Probably don't put the toilet.
Hmm?
Probably don't put it.
They probably don't.
They probably don't put the toilet.
They probably don't. Yes.
Putting too much faith in
Oh, that's what it is. They have a belief system.
They do.
Losers.
They do. Yes. Natalie.
Bend or omit evidence.
All of that's good, except for the toilet seat.
Yeah,
But
that sounds like speculation
But what I wrote is, they accept their theories and believe that there is no
I
God.
don't have enough faith to be atheist, but I have enough to believe.
I'm speaking.
Sorry.
They accept their theories and believe that there is no God based on blind faith rather than scientific evidence. And that's what they Christians argue. Okay, that's it for today.
Oh, Mrs. User, I have a little paper thing up for you.